Construction is underway here on International Drive, but the almost decade-long battle isn't over yet. How a new bill is aimed to prevent delays like what happened here from happening to other projects.
The family of one of the 4 inmates killed at a Columbia prison talks with ABC 15 News about how that incident was handled, what officials told them about it, and how they found out their loved one had died.
For the second time in a week, a body found outside this hotel in Myrtle Beach, this time a confirmed suicide. We'll tell you what we know so far and what a local suicide prevention advocate had to say.
You're watching ABC 15 News at 5.
We are working on several big stories for you tonight here at ABC 15. For the first time, the U.S. military has used the most powerful non-nuclear bomb in its arsenal.
And tonight, the family of one of those inmates killed at a Columbia prison last week sits down exclusively with ABC 15's Tanya Brown. But first, we have breaking news out of Myrtle Beach, where for the second time in just over a week, someone has died from a fall from the Camelot by the Sea Hotel.
Police say the 69-year-old man took his own life.
Today's incident comes about a week after 2 teenage girls fell to their deaths from that same hotel, and ABC 15's Eddie Kadam is working for you tonight in Myrtle Beach.
While we still don't know the circumstances leading up to the deaths of the 2 teens, the 2 Myrtle Beach High School teens a little over a week ago, we do know that this is a confirmed suicide by police today. I talked to several people who've been walking around the area who say they've been staying at the hotel and they were unsettled by what happened here. I did reach out to a spokesperson for the hotel. They just got back to me on the phone about a minute ago. I'm gonna have more information from them as soon as I'm done with this live hit here, and I'm going to deliver that for you at 6 o'clock. Now, also, I just got off the phone with a local member of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. She told me the best time to talk to your loved ones is right now when a tragedy happens, when you know it's hot on the mind of so many people. And she did mention that there is something called raise awareness about suicide contagion packs, where more than one person kills themselves in a similar way. That's something that they're trying to raise awareness about, not just in South Carolina, but across the country here. I'm going to have more on what she had to say, and I'll also, again, fill you in on what the spokesperson for the hotel has to say coming up on ABC 15 News at 6. For now, reporting in Myrtle Beach, Eddie Kadam, ABC 15 News.
All right, and to your point, Eddie, we know talking about suicide and dealing with it can be difficult. We have suicide prevention resources for you on our website. Just go to WPDE.com.
Turning now to another big story in our area, Governor Henry McMaster has announced his support for a bill that would limit the time frame in which both public and private projects could be delayed by individuals or groups. Under this bill, the time period for which a court may issue an automatic stay is limited to 90 days. And the lengthy legal battle between environmental groups and Horry County over the International Drive paving project is one of the driving forces behind that bill.
Now, even if the bill is passed, it won't change anything for International Drive, but it will impact future projects. ABC 15's Sydney Glenn is live on International Drive with an update on the paving and why one of the bill's sponsors says it will create an even playing field. Sydney?
After years of back and forth, Horry County officials tell me that construction here on International Drive is about a quarter of the way done. Now, while the tractors may be moving, the legal battle, well, that's not quite over yet. Right now, lawyers for both environmentalist groups and Horry County are discussing and working on finding a resolution. The groups have been fighting for about a decade now to stop International Drive. I spoke with Senator Luke Rankin, one of the bill's sponsors, who says it's just one of many examples of why he thinks this bill is necessary. He says if the bill passes, it will prevent lengthy delays. That means individuals or groups would only have a limited amount of time to try to delay a project.
In South Carolina, we're the only state in the country that allows a group to threaten to stop a project by filing an automatic stay petition without having to put up a case to show that they will likely prevail.
Rankin says this bill could save taxpayers a lot of money by preventing lengthy delays and allowing more projects to be completed. Coming up on ABC 15 News at 6, I'll show you how environmental groups feel about this bill and what they say could happen if it's signed into law. Live in Horry County, Sydney Glenn, ABC 15 News.
All right, thank you, Sydney. As for what's next, the bill passed the Senate and is now in the House Judiciary Committee. If it passes there, it'll go to the governor's desk.
Time now for ABC 15 News Ways on Time Traffic. Sponsored by Johnny Gardner Law Group.
On this Thursday afternoon, a lot of the hot spots we see typically for traffic are causing problems once again. Right there at Glens Bay Road on Highway 17 bypass, where all the construction is at Homestown Road. There's some traffic tie-ups right there heading in both directions. Also, traffic tie-up at 544 Dick Pond Road and Highway 17. Also, as you head up Highway 501 from Carolina Forest towards Conway, as you can see, just about 13 miles an hour. Traffic congested on both sides of the highway, as it is also on Highway 544 near Highway 501. And we have 104 Wazers now on the ABC 15 team, and you can join in as well. Just download the app, click on your profile picture, go to Teams, and select the ABC 15 traffic team.
Well, we had another warm day ahead of a frontal boundary that is producing some rainfall across our area this afternoon and evening. You can see a few cells just moving south just east of the city of Hartsville right now, just above the I-95 corridor. A little bit farther to the south and east, Mullins seeing some rain right now, likely moving over the city of Loris and Aner over the next half hour to an hour. Conway in about 2 hours, so some of these showers do hold together. We will start to see some rainfall moving in there. Whiteville, Lumberton, and Laurinburg seeing activity as well. Now, much of the heavier activity will fall apart by the time it gets to the Grand Strand, but you can see a few spots already cooled off from that rainfall. 70 right now in Darlington, 73 in Bennettsville. Previously, those temperatures in the 80s. So definitely going to see some rain-cooled air in those spots. You can see, though, that much of this activity does weaken as we do head through the next few hours or so as that activity moves closer to the Grand Strand. 10 o'clock, still seeing a few isolated showers possible, but much of that activity will be over at that time. And then temperatures are going to fall in most areas only into the 50s tonight, near the mid-60s by 11, and overnight mid to upper 50s will be the big story. You can see there, isolated shower or storm does stick around until about 10 o'clock, but much of that activity subsides as we head through the overnight hours. I'll have more on your Friday forecast and, of course, the weekend, Easter weekend, coming up later.
Tonight, an attorney for the family of an inmate killed at a Columbia prison last Friday says the deaths of those 4 inmates casts a bright light on just how bad it is to be a mentally ill inmate in South Carolina. Carter Elliott represents Jimmy Ham's family, who says he suffered from mental illness. Last year, the state's prison agency agreed to improve the treatment of mentally ill inmates. Police say Ham was one of the inmates who was killed by 2 convicted murderers in Kirkland Correctional Cell. And Jimmy Ham was arrested in Darlington County.
And his family says they never imagined he'd be brutally killed in prison and that they'd find out about it on TV. And an ABC 15 exclusive, Tanya Brown talked with Ham's family. She's live in Darlington County tonight.
Alice and Trey, I'm here outside the Darlington County Detention Center, where Ham was originally booked on burglary charges in 2006. Now, he'd been at Kirkland since 2008. His family tells me he was all set to be released in November. Ham's relatives say he was a good person, but he had his ups and downs. They're all in shock and are having a very hard time coping with what happened. The family is upset with state prison officials because they say they got one call telling them Ham had been hurt. The family tells me that was the last and only call they got.
It was just crazy how we found out because, like my aunt said, she did not find out until she watched the news. And how I found out, a friend of mine called me, and then my sister called to let me know that they saw it on the news. So when the 6 o'clock news aired, that's when we watched it, and we learned of he was found in the cell with 3 other inmates.
I've called state prison officials to alert them to the family's concern about not being notified of their loved one's death. Officials there tell me that they're checking into it. Now, the family says that Ham suffered from mental illness. Now, coming up on ABC 15 News tonight at 6, I'll show you why the family is questioning security measures and the placing of mentally ill inmates at state prisons. Live in Darlington County, Tanya Brown, ABC 15 News.
All right, thank you, Tanya. 2 inmates have been charged in the deaths of Ham and the 3 others. Police have yet to release a motive. And several inmates in Bennettsville assaulted staff members today, according to prison workers. They say it happened at Evans Correctional Prison. They say it was an isolated situation and there was no threat to public safety. Prison officials say more information will be released at a later time.
A Bennettsville police officer is on administrative leave without pay tonight after he was arrested. Lieutenant Jimmy Horton faces an assault charge after an incident in Lawrence County. Officials say Horton will remain on leave pending the outcome of the investigation. We called the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office to learn more about exactly what happened. Myrtle Beach has now suspended the business license for another downtown bar. The business license for the 3rd Avenue Sports Bar and Grill has been suspended since last Friday. A letter sent by Myrtle Beach officials to the bar says it is not lawfully operating, and 4 shootings have taken place there since April 2015. You can read the letter in its entirety on WPDE.com.
In your ABC 15 political headlines, there's still a lot of tension between the U.S. and Russia after that high-stakes meeting with President Vladimir Putin. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson says the relationship is at a low point. Even after a day of meetings in Moscow, the common ground between the Kremlin and the White House just wasn't enough to smooth things over. This all comes after a U.S. military strike on an airbase in Syria last week. And for the first time, the U.S. military has used the most powerful non-nuclear bomb in its arsenal. Military officials say the 22,000-pound Moab bomb was dropped in Afghanistan today. They targeted ISIS tunnels and personnel in the Nangarhar province. The military is still assessing the damage. At 5:30, we'll look into what signal the U.S. is sending with this bombing. Well, that Myrtle Beach woman is heading to Boston right now to face a tough challenge. Why she's compelled to run the Boston Marathon.
Spotting fake news online, how Facebook is now making sure you have accurate information.
Welcome back. You know, we hear the term fake news more and more these days.
Social media is playing a big role in how people get their news. ABC 15's Liz Cooper is working for you to find out how one side is helping you from being misinformed. Liz?
Well, you may have noticed a new feature on your social media. Facebook is now letting you be a fact checker. Sharing a story is as easy as clicking a button. Well, now reporting it as fake news is just as easy. When someone posts a story now, you can dispute the credibility. And it will also tell you who doesn't agree with the information posted. With most of us getting our information through social media, it's hard to decipher what's accurate or false information. Drew Kurlowski, an assistant professor at politics at Coastal Carolina University, says responsibility of sharing facts falls on all of us.
When I see an article that speaks to my personal predispositions and I shoot it on down the pipe to all of my friends, I haven't done my due diligence and checked that, right? I might assume that it's already been vetted or assume that it's true because it reinforces my predispositions.
Kurlowski says it's easy for fake news sites to misinform viewers since they all look reputable. Now, coming up on ABC 15 News at 6, I'll show you how some of you guys sift through fake news and why Kurlowski says that this fake news has been around for centuries. Live in the newsroom, Liz Cooper, ABC 15 News.
All right, thank you, Liz. Kurlowski says the biggest thing you can do to help spreading fake news is making sure you take the time to check multiple sites before you share.
Your first warning weather with meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
Tracking rain across our area on this Thursday. Hope you're all having a great day so far. It was beautiful ahead of this frontal boundary, but now that it's sitting to our south, we are seeing some showers popping up along with it. Now, most of this activity is occurring right now across the PD and along the border belt. Zooming in a little bit closer, you can see some pockets of heavier rain just east of the city of Bennettsville, moving north of Darlington towards the city of Florence over the next 30 minutes to an hour. Also just south and east of Sellers, just west of Mullins, seeing some pockets of heavier rainfall. So if you are heading out in the car, you may want to make sure those windshield wipers are in working condition. You may want to have the umbrella handy if you do have any outdoor plans. Laura's seeing some pockets of heavy rain just now. We are going to see that move a little bit farther south towards the city of Bug Hill, Longs, and even towards the city of Myrtle Beach as we head through the next few hours or so. So definitely have those umbrellas handy if you're heading outdoors this afternoon. Futurecast, you can see that those pockets of heavier showers could stick around until about 10 o'clock, but that's when we're going to start to see much of that activity subside. And then as we head throughout the day on Friday, there is a chance for a brief shower, but those chances are so low that about 95% of you all will not see any activity on Friday. And it will be plenty warm, just like what we saw today. Temperatures upper 70s to low 80s across the PD and along the border belt, mid to upper 70s along the immediate coast. Once again, very similar to what we saw on Thursday. Mostly sunny skies with a very light wind out of the northeast and east. Warm conditions do continue as we head into the holiday weekend, but our next frontal boundary is approaching the area as we head through Sunday, and that is going to bring some changes on the way as we head into the work week. But before we get there, if you have any plans for this Easter sunrise service, we do have great conditions, temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s for your Sunday morning, low 60s in most spots along the immediate coast. Overall, very dry and pleasant conditions with mostly sunny skies in the afternoon. But as we head through the end of your weekend, we are seeing that chance for some showers and storms approaching Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. At this time, nothing severe, but some of those pockets of heavier rain could produce some stronger storms at times. Of course, we will be tracking that live here on ABC 15. That's mainly Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then warm and dry conditions return as we head throughout the day on Thursday. Across the PD and along the border belt, we'll see temperatures in the 80s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mostly sunny. Then the chance for some showers and storms does return Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Mainly in the afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll start to see some clearing later on in the day before plenty of warmth returns on Thursday.
Well, that right there is a furless Tickle Me Elmo doll. Creepy. And that's not the work of kids. Researchers did that to him. We'll show you why.
And why a Myrtle Beach native says she is determined to run in this year's Boston Marathon.
You're watching ABC 15 News at 5.
Taking a look at what's trending tonight, Tickle Me Elmo has been around now for more than 2 decades, but not like this.
Yeah, not furless. Look at that. Researchers at the Canada Science and Technology Museum in Ottawa did this, and the tweets started coming, of course. What did you do to Elmo? So why did researchers take Elmo apart like that? Well, they say it was all in the name of science.
I'm not so sure.
Yeah. I think they're just enjoying doing that.
That is ridiculous. I know.
I don't like that at all.
That is creepy. Very creepy.
Well, today is National Scrabble Day.
American architect Alfred Mosher Butts developed that game during the Great Depression, and studies say the word game can actually be found in 3 out of 5 American homes. Scrabble was inducted into the Toy Hall of Fame in 2004. The annual National Scrabble Championship has even aired on ESPN.
Alfred Mosher Butts came up with this. Okay. All right. Do you have a Scrabble dictionary?
I do not.
Okay, I do.
Yeah, I'm not a big Scrabble player.
Really?
I'm not very good at it, that's why.
I know. Well, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
I just want to know.
I like Scrabble on my phone.
On your
They
phone?
have the iPhone apps for Scrabble and stuff.
Is that what you play?
That's what
there
I
in the
play.
Winter Center sometimes?
That's what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing all day.
Well, how about the weather?
It's going to be a great weekend. If you have any outdoor plans this weekend, of course, it is the holiday weekend. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s and low to mid 80s in most areas on Saturday and Sunday. Plenty of sunshine, not a drop of rain in the forecast. Winds remain light, so pretty much ideal if you're heading outdoors.
All right, the Boston Marathon is Monday, and thousands of runners are training.
And also training those making sure that the marathon is safe and goes off without a hitch. This week, hundreds of people from 70 different agencies took part in exercises for the marathon. They practiced the worst-case scenarios.
The threats and hazards change, but in some ways, if we plan for some particular threats and hazards, but something else happens, the exercise makes us that much more prepared.
Look at different scenarios that could happen, different things that we've seen across the globe, things to that effect. We look at different things, look at the tactics used to disrupt them or stop them.
Massachusetts police say they are prepared if anything happens on race day. Drones will be hovering at the starting line for this year's Boston Marathon. The goal is to scan the crowds to detect any threats. It's controlled by a computer. It flies itself. The device is tethered to a power box that provides power. It feeds back real-time video to people on the ground. It will provide additional security to the thousands of law enforcement personnel and volunteers who are working on the ground. Tonight, a Myrtle Beach woman is heading to Massachusetts to run in the Boston Marathon.
And ABC 15's Amanda Kinsett shows us how this trip is about much more than finishing a race.
It's crazy. This is just scary.
The Boston Marathon bombing in 2013.
Seeing the bombings go off and knowing my cousin was out there but not knowing where he was.
It prompted Laura Gustafson to do something she had never done before. Run. Not run in fear, but in fury.
I said to my husband, I said, I'm going to run that race one day. These terrorists aren't going to get me. Well, at that point, I was smoking a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. Never ran. And he's looking at me like, yeah, you're crazy.
But here she is 4 years later, and 2 marathons later, getting ready to run her third. This one in Boston.
But this will be my third and probably the one that's closest to my heart.
She'll join 100 women at the starting line, all members of 261 Fearless, a group to empower women around the world. It's a group in honor of the first woman to finish the Boston Marathon, Catherine Schweitzer. That was 50 years ago.
When she first did it, it was kind of taboo for women to run that distance, and she kind of broke the ground on women getting into distant running.
Laura is going the distance to send a message.
I'm from Massachusetts originally, so you don't mess with my city. I'm going to get them to prove them I'm not afraid. That's what Fearless is all about.
Fearless and empowered. In Myrtle Beach, Amanda Kinsett, ABC 15 News.
And this year is the 50th anniversary of when Catherine Schweitzer first ran the Boston Marathon. At age 70, she will join the 261 Fearless group to run this year.
The U.S. military has dropped a massive bomb in Afghanistan. We'll tell you the message the U.S. is hoping to send through this bombing.
Honest to God, I've only been a patrolman or a police officer for 2 years, but I don't think I'll have anything like this the rest of my career.
Oh no, an 8-year-old took his parents' car keys and went on a little joyride, and wait until you hear why the child says he did it.
You're watching ABC 15 News at 5.
Taking a look at our top stories tonight, Governor Henry McMaster has now announced support for an automatic stay bill. That lengthy legal battle behind the International Drive paving project in Horry County is one of the driving forces behind this statewide bill. Coming up on ABC 15 News at 6, we'll show you how environmental groups feel about it.
In an ABC 15 exclusive, we're hearing from the family of one of the 4 inmates killed in a Columbia prison. They live in Darlington County, and they spoke to our Tanya Brown about how they were notified about Jimmy Ham's death. They say prison officials told them he was hurt, but they found out he died on the news. An investigation is underway tonight.
And police say a 69-year-old man has died after falling from Camelot by the Sea Hotel in Myrtle Beach. They say his death was a suicide. The incident comes about a week after 2 teenage girls fell to their deaths from the same hotel. Police say the man's death is not related to the deaths of the 2 girls. Significant news tonight on the war on terror.
The U.S. military has dropped the largest non-nuclear bomb ever used in combat, and new at 5:30, our chief political correspondent Scott Thuman shows us why the 22,000-pound bomb is being called the mother of all bombs.
Well, you could argue that at least physically, this is the largest single strike ever against ISIS. A bomb with 11 tons of explosives dropped Thursday in eastern Afghanistan. It is called the mother of all bombs, seen here in this 2003 test video, so big it was essentially pushed out the back of a U.S. military cargo plane. The Army announcing it was used for maximizing the destruction of ISIS fighters and facilities. It is where ISIS was reportedly using IEDs and hideouts to strengthen its defenses.
We targeted a system of tunnels and caves that ISIS fighters used to move around freely, making it easier for them to target U.S. military advisors and Afghan forces in the area.
The bomb's use comes just a day after ISIS claimed responsibility for yet another suicide bomb in Kabul, killing 5 and injuring more near the country's defense ministry compound. Meanwhile, with tensions flaring in North Korea as Kim Jong-un fires test missiles, and in Syria, where the American military hit targets over the weekend, the president was asked this afternoon if the bombing served as a warning to those countries as well.
I don't know if this sends a message. It doesn't make any difference if it does or not. We have incredible leaders in the military, and we have incredible military, and we are very proud of them. And this was another very, very successful mission.
We are still waiting for a more detailed damage report, but the Pentagon stressing it took every precaution possible to avoid civilian casualties. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
And of course, you can stay up to date with everything that happens right here on ABC 15 and on WPDE.com. Well, today marks 1 month since police say 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas was kidnapped by her former teacher, Tad Cummins. Police say Cummins is on blood pressure medicine and could need a refill. Pharmacists are being asked to be on the lookout. They were last seen at a Walmart in Oklahoma City in March, 2 days after they disappeared from Tennessee. Prosecutors say Cummins left a note for his wife the day he vanished, but it's believed that note was a diversion to mislead investigators. And police in Central California say 2 thieves got away with thousands of dollars worth of jeans. Now, you can see the 2 shopping around some folded jeans on display in Fresno. Police say they grabbed a bunch of pairs and ran for the door. Officers say they're valued at about $2,000. No arrests have been made.
Tonight, we are working with law enforcement and Crime Stoppers of the PD to track down wanted individuals in Florence County. Here's ABC 15's Tanya Brown with this week's PD's Wanted.
Crime Stoppers of the PD and the Florence County Sheriff's Office need your help tonight. They're trying to track down 5 people wanted for court violations. Let's take a look at their mugshots and the violations they stand accused of committing. Deputies tell me 33-year-old Ishmael Larry Wilson of Florence and 30-year-old Reggie Lee Sellers of Timmonsville are both wanted on General Sessions Court bench warrants. 53-year-old Gerald Monroe Jr. of Lake City and 23-year-old Joseph Latrell Lewis McFadden of Timmonsville are also wanted on General Court Sessions bench warrants, as well as Daquan Danique McFadden, according to the Florence County Sheriff's Office. If your tip leads deputies to an arrest, you can get a reward from Crime Stoppers of the PD. All you have to do is give them a call at 1-888-CRIME-SC. You can also log on to WPDE.com for more information on this week's PD's Wanted.
And if you do leave a tip, you can remain anonymous.
We're learning new information about that deadly church bus wreck in Texas last month. Police say pickup driver Jack Young was using prescription pills and had marijuana in his truck when he smashed into the bus. 13 people died in that wreck. Police say they found 2 full marijuana cigarettes and 5 partially smoked ones in the pickup truck after the wreck. And they say Young was high on drugs at the time of the crash. Well, what was supposed to be a fun trip to the mall to visit the Easter Bunny turned into something else for a Virginia mom. While waiting in line, her baby got upset, so she sat down on a bench to breastfeed her. She says a security guard immediately came up to her and told her she had to go to the nursing room. Well, the mother says she knows the law in Virginia and she was within her rights, so she finished feeding.
This is how you handle a nursing mother. The same way you would handle a mother bottle feeding. You just keep moving and let the mom feed her child. It's that simple.
Well, officials at the mall have apologized.
Plenty of sunshine and plenty of warmth today, all ahead of a cold front that now is sitting just to our south. And because of that, we have some rain popping up behind that frontal boundary. Some pockets of heavy rain near Darlington, southwest of Mullins right now, just south of Loris, moving over Bug Hill. Zooming in a little bit closer to some of these showers, producing some lightning strikes. One just south and east of Marion right now, moving towards Centenary. Right south and west also of Loris, some pockets of heavier rain moving towards Longs and Conway right now. Moving a little bit farther west towards the I-95 corridor, we are seeing some heavier rain just south of Darlington, moving towards Florence, Danwood, and Timmonsville. So if you have any plans to head out on the roadways, you may want to use some extra caution there. Otherwise, plenty of warmth across the area, but you can see a few cities that have been cooled off by some of this rain. Currently 72 in Whiteville, 70 Marion and Darlington, 73 in Bennettsville, 72 in Hartsville, those cities previously in the upper 70s. As we head through the next few hours, some pockets of heavier rain will continue until about the 10 o'clock hour. But after that, we are going to see some clearing of the rain, temperatures falling into the mid to upper 50s as we head through the overnight hour. So overall, not too bad of an evening once we get through this rainfall. So be sure to download that WPDE weather app if you have any outdoor plans to dodge the downpours.
Time now for ABC 15 News Ways on Time Traffic. Sponsored by Johnny Gardner Law Group.
We have a couple of areas to tell you about in Myrtle Beach here today. On Highway 17 near Coastal Grand Mall, there's a backup. And then when you cross over Highway 501 right there at Walmart and Seaboard Street, some backups there as well. And then moving down Highway 17, starting at Myrtle Waves and going towards Broadway Grand